So the offseason is finally here, and that means it is time to hear some of your guys' hottest takes about the MLB offseason and tell you whether I buy, agree with them, or sell, disagree with them. If you want to get involved in the next buy or sell, make sure you either are subscribed to the channel or follow me over on my Twitter at GiraffeNeckMarc. There'll be links in the description. The best way to do it is reply to my tweet or my community post, so make sure you're subscribed and followed on both. I gotta say, you guys gave me over 500 plus replies. I'm going to try to answer as many as I possibly can in today's video without making the video go on for way too long. And with how crazy the free agent class and trade market looks like it could be, I'm sure there will be some insane takes. The first one here comes in from Mike, who says, Red Sox sign Max Fried and Teoscar Hernandez. I'm gonna have to sell this. I don't think the Red Sox are gonna go and get both of these guys right now. Max Fried is gonna get a 5, 6, maybe even 7-year deal on the free agent market, and I just don't feel like the Red Sox want to dedicate that much money to a starting pitcher like Max Fried right now. It's not that Max Fried isn't great. He's a really good pitcher. He's one of the best ones available. But in terms of what makes the Red Sox best right now, I don't know if giving all that money to Max Fried is going to be the best possible scenario, along with the fact that you might get into a little bit of a bidding war. I think there are other options available for the Red Sox on the pitching market, especially even if you want to go the trade route, that are more enticing rather than paying all that money on a long-term contract to Max Fried. I do think Teoscar Hernandez could be in the realm of possibility. You saw they had Tyler O'Neill playing left field last year. Tyler O'Neill was great. Teoscar Hernandez would be an absolute stud at Fenway. The guy's an amazing hitter to begin with. Get him in a much more hitter-friendly park, especially to left field. You could realistically even play him in the outfield because left field has such little distance and ground to cover that his defense probably wouldn't be as bad. Granted, would need to learn how to play defense off the green monster. That would definitely be concerning, but his range and his arm would never be an issue. I like the Teoscar to the Red Sox move more than I like Max Fried. I don't see them likely getting both of those guys together, which is why I have to sell. I could see it being one or the other, but I don't see both. This one comes in from Tay, who says Roki Sasaki receives the largest pitcher contract in history, passing Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This one's a sell, and I'm just going to give you guys a little information here. One, not 100% official that Roki is posting just yet. There's rumors that he will. If he does post, he is going to be similar to what Shohei Ohtani did when he came over to the Angels. It won't be a free agent contract like you saw with Yamamoto this past season. The team would have to go into their international free agent budget to sign a player like Roki Sasaki. So he would not be receiving a essentially free agent contract like we saw from Yamamoto. So while his talent and his skill could be better than Yamamoto, there's simply no chance that if he signs this season that he can get a bigger contract than Yoshinobu Yamamoto did from the Dodgers last year. And just to talk about Roki Sasaki a little bit for a second, if he posts, he is one of the most intriguing pitchers on the free agent market, could be arguably the most talented pitcher on the free agent market. Throws 100 miles an hour, has a devastating splitter that looks like it might be untouchable. The biggest concern with him has been his health and staying on the field. He's still so young. He's under 25 years old. He's got a great arm. This seems like Roki Sasaki wants to get to Major League Baseball so that he can start pitching in the Major League system. There is no incentive necessarily for his team from Japan to post him right now. They're not going to get the maximum money that they possibly could for giving up a guy like Roki. This would simply be because they want to help this young kid achieve his goals of being at the Major League level. But of course, Kylie McDaniel reported that he is going to come over. He's going to sign with the Dodgers, and that does make sense if Kylie McDaniel is right. But we're yet to see. Regardless, I do have to sell this take, though. He simply will not be able to pass his contract if he comes over this year. V-Twins 2008 says Astros signed Alex Bregman to a hometown discount of 7 years, $155 million. I mean, that contract would be a hometown discount for sure. $22 million a year for Alex Bregman would be great. The concern with Bregman, of course, is always going to be the years. As you get longer and longer into these contracts, that's what concerns you with these players. I actually do feel like it's more likely than not that Alex Bregman goes back to the Houston Astros. It just feels like the perfect fit. It doesn't make sense to see him on another team. I don't see any team really blowing him out of the water money-wise where it would incentivize him to leave the Astros and go to a new team. He's a very good player. He's a great third baseman defensively, offensively. He does it all. That bat, that swing is built for Houston and those Crawford boxes. He's been a part of the franchise, the dynasty that was the Houston Astros. I can't see him leaving. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I do think the most likely outcome is that Bregman does sign back with the Astros. Hometown discount, I'm not sure if he's going to take that. I think this is relatively close to what a 7-year deal would look like anyway for Alex Bregman. He's not getting $30 million, or at least I wouldn't pay him that much a year. So I'm going to buy this take. I think Bregman is back with the Astros, and sure, he takes a hometown discount. At this point, it doesn't really matter. I'm Alex Lynn says Blue Jays signed Juan Soto to a 10-year, $600 million contract. Sell. It's not that I think the Blue Jays aren't a sneaky team that could get involved in Juan Soto, because I do. They're owned by Rogers. Rogers has insane money. They went after Ohtani. They went after all the guys that you could imagine in the last few years. They have been aggressive on the free agent market. They have money that they want to spend. I just don't think that Juan Soto, one, is going to go to the Blue Jays. I don't think they'll be able to match the money that the Mets, Yankees, or even the Dodgers are going to offer. Maybe even the Giants as well could be a fourth team thrown in there that's like a little bit sneaky and has a lot of money that they could spend. Two, I don't think Juan Soto is going to take a 10-year deal. That only takes him to age 36. He's going to have to sign another contract at that point. Juan Soto is going to be looking for a 14, 15-year deal. I think the $600 million is correct, but I don't see him making that much more a year than Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is getting paid around $40 million a year right now. So it's saying that if you sign Juan Soto to that contract, that's $20 million more a year than Aaron Judge. And let's be honest, Aaron Judge is the better player right now at the moment. Of course, Juan Soto is 6 years younger than Aaron Judge. There are a lot of differing factors that make Juan Soto more enticing. But is that $20 million more a year for 10 seasons? I don't think so. I see Juan Soto in that 45 to 52-ish million dollar a year range. Anything more than that, I mean, listen, not my money. If the Mets sign him for $60 million a year, you will never hear me complain, and I don't think any team should. But I think where we get lost sometimes is that $600 million, I don't think it's going to come over a shorter period of time, which is insane to say, like 10 years. I think that's going to be a 13, 14, $15 million a year contract. When you look at how good Juan Soto is and compare him to the top players in baseball, there are comparable players. The only thing that he really has right now is that he's a free agent at 26 years of age. That is what guys like Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, those guys could never really comp with, but that gets him those extra years. I don't think he makes $60 million a year. I don't think he ultimately signs with the Blue Jays, so I am going to sell this one. Random person says, Mariners shock everyone and make a big splash by signing Christian Walker to a 3-year deal. I don't think this is a shock. Mariners signing Christian Walker would not be a shock to anybody, I think, and it's not because they're linked to him, there's rumors. It's the fact that the Mariners need a first baseman. Christian Walker is one of the 7 best first basemen in Major League Baseball. He would be a great fit in this Mariners lineup. I think it would be surprising just because the Mariners are never a team that hitters are really overly excited to go to. We know that ballpark does not necessarily play well for the offense, but I think this makes sense. Like, do you want to spend $150, $200 million possibly on Pete Alonso to be your first baseman, especially when you know that offense gets suppressed in your park? Christian Walker will be a cheaper deal. It won't be for as many years, and he will probably be relatively just as good over the next couple seasons, where the money and the year difference will totally be worth it for Christian Walker if you are the Seattle Mariners. So for me, I buy it. I mean, I don't think they're going to shock everyone if they were to get Christian Walker. I think maybe 7 people would be shocked overall. It makes too much sense. Do I think this is a likely outcome? Probably not, but I'm going to buy the idea that this makes sense and that they could. Christian Walker is a stud. They need a first baseman. That Orioles guy says, O's re-sign Burns and Santander. While I think they have a chance to realistically actually bring back Corbin Burns, they got the new owner. He's got money. I think he liked being in Baltimore. That's a good park for him to pitch in. I wouldn't be surprised if they re-sign Corbin Burns. That's totally in the realm of possibility, but I do not think there's a shot they bring back Anthony Santander. Reason being, the Orioles have so many young outfield players. They have a plethora of young talent, and corner outfield is a spot where you'll be able to plug and play these young players when they're ready to go. And Anthony Santander, while he's a stud, while he hit 40 home runs last year, while he's a really good player, the money in the years that he's going to demand doesn't fit the Orioles timeline. It doesn't really make sense to give it to a guy who you're hoping his position can be filled by younger, cheaper players that you can then go spend money on guys maybe like Corbin Burns and keeping him through, on some pitching, on some bigger, more guaranteed bona fide stars. Anthony Santander is a great player and the Orioles will miss him next year. It's going to be hard to replace his production. But in terms of the money that he's going to be demanding, the years that he wants, and the position that he plays, it does not make sense for the Orioles to bring back Anthony Santander. It makes sense for him to go elsewhere, get paid, and to spend that money on going after a guy like Corbin Burns instead. So I am going to have to sell this one here, but you should be happy that I think they're at least still in it for Corbin Burns. Santander's the least of their worries. John Granch says Juan Soto or Pete Alonso signs with the Nationals. I actually kind of love this take. I'm going to buy it. There's like a little crazy person in my head who keeps whispering into my ear that Juan Soto could go back to the Nationals and it would make a ton of sense. He's still young, so he'd be a part of the new core of Nationals coming up trying to win more World Series. We know that they wanted to pay him in the past. They didn't give him the mega contract that he wanted, but maybe this changes things. Maybe now that they see they have this young core around, that he was a part of the reason that they came in? Maybe this was their plan all along. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But what I do think is more realistic is that Pete Alonso could be a Washington National. And as a Mets fan, I mean, you see the fat head behind me. That is an absolute nightmare. Pete Alonso rakes in Nationals Park. He still is one of the elite power hitters in Major League Baseball, and I do not want to have to root against this guy. But the Nationals could use a cornerstone first baseman right now, a guy that gives them legitimate pop in the middle of the order for the next 6, 7, 8 years, building around CJ Abrams, Dylan Cruz, James Wood, and other young guys that they have coming up. Pete Alonso would be an amazing fit in Washington. It would make so much sense. And if they've got the money, these are the two hitters that you should be spending on if you are the Washington Nationals. Obviously, Juan Soto first, but he's exorbitant amount of money that you're going to need. Pete Alonso's more in the realm of possibility. I am going to buy this take. I do think they have the chance to sign one of these guys. More likely, unfortunately, the polar bear Pete Alonso. Bink says Mets not only sign Soto, but also trade for Vladdy Jr. Oh my God, why'd you have to add the trade for Vladdy Jr.? The Blue Jays are not trading Vlad Guerrero Jr. unless he simply tells them, I will not sign an extension. I do not want to be in Toronto. I don't want to be a part of this organization. They are going to give him the bag. They're not trading Vlad Guerrero Jr. It doesn't make sense to trade him. Like, Vlad turns 26 next year. You have control of him for one more season. Pay the man. He's a really good baseball player. I don't see why they would be looking to trade him right now. He can be a part of the future. He is not old by any means. And I don't think the Mets are going to get him. I really don't. I don't know if the Mets have the best prospect haul back for a guy like Vlad Guerrero Jr. for the Blue Jays. Now, I do think the Mets have a really good chance to sign Juan Soto, and that's not even Mets bias. Look around Major League Baseball reporting and rumors and news. The Mets are one of the 3 favorites to sign Juan Soto. They have the richest owner in baseball. He's going to spend as much money as it physically takes to sign this guy. It's down to whether or not Juan Soto wants to be a New York Met. If he does, Juan Soto will be here. I can guarantee it. The Mets will give him the most money. And if they don't, Steve Cohen's got some explaining to do to the Mets fans. There's no doubt there. Can't be the rich guy promising everything and then come up short by not even offering the most money. But if he does and Juan Soto says no, it. Boo Juan Soto, hate him, go play for whatever team you sign for. But I really do think the Mets have a super good chance to sign Juan Soto. My hopes are up as high as they've ever been in the free agent market. So I buy that, but we're not trading for Vlad Jr. There's no way. We are more likely to sign Juan Soto and Pete Alonso than to sign Juan Soto and trade for Vlad Jr. Honestly, more likely to sign both Juan Soto and Pete Alonso than to trade for Vlad Jr. just on his own. I don't think that's happening. AG says Buster Posey makes big moves this offseason to put the Giants back in the limelight as a real playoff contender. First move to set the stage, getting Carlos Correa back from the Twins like the Yankees got A-Rod from Texas back in 2004. I think they will make an aggressive move for a shortstop this offseason. I think Bo Bichette could be in the realm of possibility. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to trade Vlad. I think Bo would be the guy, if anybody, that they look to move. Willy Adames is also a free agency. I got to imagine the Giants are going to be super aggressive on a guy like Willy Adames, who plays good defense, has a good bat, looks like he's going to be a solid player for years and years to come. I don't hate the idea of going out and getting Carlos Correa by any means. I can't imagine the Twins, after a disappointing year, are particularly happy at the big money that they threw at Carlos Correa. When he plays, he's great. There's just inconsistency with his health. I am going to buy this move just because I do think the Giants have to be aggressive. I think Buster Posey is trying to bring winning baseball back to the Bay Area. I don't necessarily think it's going to be the way that you say, but I expect them to make some big moves. I expect them to make some trades. I expect them to be very aggressive this offseason. This team needs to be better than they've been the last few years if they want to keep the fans and everybody out there happy. Matthew Zapolo says the Yankees downfall was easily anticipated and should have been expected. Listen, I'm a Yankees hater, and I know at the beginning of the year I was a super Yankees hater. I don't think this Yankees team necessarily was the most talented roster. I don't even necessarily know if there were truly good World Series team or ever had a chance to win the World Series against the Dodgers. Not a lot of teams did, though. The Yankees had a super easy path there, but they did get there. They have Aaron Judge. They have Garrett Cole. Carlos Rodon had a good year. The bullpen's great. Anthony Volpe's a solid young shortstop. Great defense over there. Jazz Chisholm's a stud. Giancarlo Stanton looked revived. Austin Wells, Luis Gil. Like, there are a lot of good pieces. Clark Schmidt looked great. I think this Yankees team is in a completely fine spot. I don't think there is a downfall by any means coming to this roster or this organization. Losing Juan Soto would kill them. It would hurt them. They would need to find offense instantly. But also in the same regard, they have a really good shot to bring Juan Soto back. So if Juan Soto's there, they are one of the best teams in baseball. If Juan Soto's not there, they're still one of the better teams in Major League Baseball. So I have to sell this. I don't think the Yankees' downfall is even happening. One, I don't think, two, it's easily anticipated. I don't think anybody in their life thinks that the Yankees are going to stink next year. Downfall, implies that they're going to be horrible. It means that they're going to fall from grace. They might not be a World Series team next year. They might have to fight for a playoff spot harder than they expected, but that has to do with who they end up bringing in, if they have Juan Soto or not. But this is still a good baseball team that has holes, that has things that they need to address and fix. But what's nice about being the New York Yankees, what's nice about being a team with money, is that you can go out and address those problems instantly, whether that's through free agency or the trade market. The Yankees need a first baseman, Christian Walker. Carlos Santana would be an amazing cheap buy for them. Josh Bell. Those guys, if you don't want to spend money on a first baseman, would be awesome improvements over what you had at first base the last year. Alex Bregman could go play third base. Jazz Chisholm play second, where you move Jazz to center field, back where he was pretty good. You move Aaron Judge to right field. All of a sudden, this team is looking more complete with just a few bats that you can pick up here and there. It is not out of the realm of possibility that they're going to get Juan Soto, and if they do, for sure not a downfall happening. If they don't, there's a lot of other good free agents that the Yankees could grab. I have to sell this one. As a Yankee hater, I can't believe you're making me sell the downfall of them. Ugh. Ethan Kane, 2021, says Reds signed Shane Bieber to a one-year deal with a club option in 2026. For Bieber, a guy who's coming off of major injury, Tommy John surgery, his market's going to look weird. He's probably going to want at least a 2-year deal, or like you said, a 1-year deal with a player option. I don't think it's going to be a club option. Maybe he doesn't have the choice. Shane Bieber, when healthy, was one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball just a few years ago. The fastball velo has been dropped in the last couple years. There have been things that have been concerning. Ended in Tommy John surgery. I think he's worth a shot. Now, again, it depends what you're going to be paying him, because you don't really want to expect that many innings out of Shane Bieber this year. He shouldn't be a guy who you're relying on. Again, coming off of major surgery. Never a great thing to be reliant upon. But I could totally see him being a Cincinnati Red. This makes sense to me in my head, so I'm going to buy this. The Reds and Shane Bieber, that would be a really good match for him, outside of the fact that he's playing in like the most hitter-friendly ballpark outside of Coors in Major League Baseball. Leo Kronchik says the Brewers sign Alex Bregman, which sends Joey Ortiz / Bryce Terang to shortstop with Willy Adames' departure. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I could totally buy this take. I don't know if they're going to be that aggressive money-wise. The Brewers have never been an organization to spend big money, especially on free agents. They kind of operate in the shadows, in the margins, where they can find good value. And I don't think necessarily Bregman would be what you would classify as good value. Even though he's a good player, the amount of money that you're paying him, I think the Brewers feel like they'd be able to find plug-and-play guys here and there that can give them similar-ish value for a lot less money. That's kind of how they operate. Conceptually, I love this idea. I think Joey Ortiz looks like someone who might be able to play shortstop. Bryce Terang played a great second base. Could he play shortstop? They also have some prospects coming up through the system at some point. I like the idea, so I will buy it, but I don't think it's going to happen just because the Brewers don't spend. If they did, I love this move a lot. Bo says, Zack Allen gets traded. 1 year left on his contract and a Scott Boras client. I think the D-backs will get something back for him. Maybe at the deadline if they're out of it, but right now I have to sell it. I don't expect the Diamondbacks to be sellers this offseason, especially of one of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball, and Zack Allen. The starting rotation was a problem last year for the Diamondbacks, and granted, Zack Allen wasn't as sharp as he's been the last few years, but I don't think that because he has an expiring contract at the end of the year that the Diamondbacks will be looking to move on from Gallen, even if he is a Boras agent. This is an organization and ownership that has shown that they are committed to winning right now. You don't pay Jordan Montgomery all that money to be terrible if you're then just going to sell off Zack Gallen. That's just kind of how it works. They picked up the option on Eugenio Suarez. They're probably going to sign Christian Walker back if they're given the opportunity. If he wants to come back, I think that's a spot that makes sense for him. They have a good young core. It seems like a time where the Diamondbacks would honestly push for it. I mean, they signed Erod last year. They signed Jock. They made a bunch of good moves last season. I don't think because they missed out on the playoffs by a game or two that all of a sudden they're going to be like, you know what, Zack Allen, get rid of him while we have value. We're worried about him leaving in free agency, which is a possibility. I just don't see that happening. Luke Thatcher says Blake Snell signs with the Los Angeles Angels. Sell. The only reason he would is because Artie Moreno hit his head and is like, I'm going to give you $75 million a year. I don't see the Angels as a attractive landing spot for a player right now who, one, probably wants to win, two, wants to get paid. The combination of the two just doesn't really line up. And the Angels' development has been horrendous, especially on the pitching side. If I'm Blake Snell and I want to stay healthy, I want to pitch long into games, I want to get paid my money, there are a lot other teams that will offer him that contract rather than the Los Angeles Angels, who are an absolute dumpster fire. I know Angels fans are going to be like, you're always trashing us, you don't understand. Guys, you won 63 games last year. The team is bad. You just took on Jorge Soler's contract for seemingly no reason. You signed Kyle Hendricks. This is not a good team. They are not close to being good. Getting a guy like Blake Snell doesn't really make sense even for that franchise right now, because even if they had him, this team still stinks. So I'm selling this take. The Angels should just embrace the rebuild, work on development, get some veterans in on shorter-term contracts that you can trade at the deadline to then grab more prospects to help with that rebuild. That's the way that makes sense. Mike Trout needs to be traded. Hate to say it, but he's got to get out of LA. Well, Anaheim. All right, there it is, the first buy or sell of the offseason. I'm going to do one of these, I think, every single month. So again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel or follow me on Twitter or do both. Do both. GiraffeNeckMarc. You can find the links in the description. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as get in the comment section down below and let me know what you agree or disagree with on what I said in today's video. That's where I'll wrap it up. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next video. Bye.